Hello, this is Awkward Audrey, and welcome to my art hour. Today's theme will be Dragon Stare. Ooh. So, this theme was based on the Game of Thrones season premiere for their final season. And when I started, I just liked the idea of like the dragon's eyes, right? And how like intimidating and predator-like that they are, and so I was like, okay, this is great. Hi, mom. um, and uh, and I was, like, okay, I want to kind of see if I can capture that because that sounds like a really fun thing to watercolor our eyes. And so I was like, okay, well, how do I want to expand on that? And let me tell you, the creative process is not exact. So today, so like when I was thinking, okay, well, I want to do like eyes. I want to focus on the eyes of a dragon, right, if possible. And the so I did a whole bunch of research about eyes in general and like why do we associate dragons with like the vertical slit like you would for cats? And I learned that there's actually quite a few different varieties of pupils. Like most have the circle like we do, like humans do. But cuttlefish have like a W shape. There's the slit. If you look at like some alligators, it is kind of like a slit, but it's pinched in some areas along the pupil. It is very fascinating. And it sounds like the scientific community has some theories as to why um, different creatures have different pupils and pupil sizes and shapes, but nobody has really has a confirmed theory of on why one is better than the other for certain circumstances. So I was like, well, I think for today I want to try and go for a circle. I think, or a vertical. I don't know. The creative process. We'll find out as it happens. So, okay, so I'm going to now switch around and show where hi, Kathy. I'm going to show you my what I'm going to be working with today, and what essentially show what we're going to be doing. Hi, Shannon. Okay, let's turn this around. Okay, so what we have here, there we go, here's my watercolor pad. And as you can see, I kind of got started on a sketch, but and I think I will really like it. This dragon. He's kind of got a sassy look to him, like, oh really? You're really going to try me, hmm? But I think that for a watercolor, that is actually too ambitious. So we're going to actually today be winging it. I'm going to I think, do an eye and like the semblance of a face, an eyebrow, and then one of the things that was very difficult for me to decide on what it is I wanted to do was that I also really wanted to get wanted to capture the flight of a dragon, which you can't really do, and still focus on such fine details as like the eyes. It's a very difficult thing to do, and I'm not going to try that hard to make it happen. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just draw the eye right here, and it kind of fade out into white, and then over here just have a very loose silhouette of a dragon flying. Nothing fancy. Today, let's see. I did this week buy a kneaded eraser. And for those of you who don't know what a kneaded eraser is, it's pretty much magic. It erases on paper, but it just picks up the graphite that you've been drawing with and does not destroy the paper like you can with regular pencil eraser. As you can see, I've worn this down quite a bit, and this pencil is pretty much only useful in that it still draws, but does not erase much. So I'll be, if I need to, I'll use my kneaded eraser, but I don't think, since I have not sketched anything, we'll just wing it today. Haha, wing it. What we'll also might be using for finer details are my fine-tipped bullet journal pens. And of course, for the watercolor, we'll be using my water brush pencils. Oh, thanks, Mom. Kneaded eraser or kneaded eraser? I would say that sometimes you really do need the eraser. It is a necessity, but it is a kneaded eraser because you can just like form it however you want to get whatever you need for the eraser to erase. Ta-da. Okay, also what I brought with me today, and I don't know if I'm going to use any of it, but I had some of these paints lying around. Since dragons have very tough scales, I thought if possible, I might use some of these metallic paints that I have. Okay, let's get started. And just so you guys know, I do have this a little bit higher than normal so we can get the full view here, since I'll be doing it landscape instead of portrait. I might not see your comments immediately, so have patience as I check every now and again on the comments during this live feed. Okay. Ta-da. So, what do I want to start with? Oh, also things that I've learned this time around. I have a full glass and not like a small dish for my water, and I need to go get a bowl, so I'll be back one moment. Bowl. So I think for this, since this is Game of Thrones themed, and there is a blue-eyed dragon now in the mix of the world of Game of Thrones, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a blue-eyed dragon and kind of maybe an ice dragon, if that's what I want. So we're going to be using this color, and let's see. I don't generally like to use black if possible because it's a very harsh color. I usually like to use a darker version of another color, so I might be using some brown as well to get the effect. So here are I might use other ones, but I'll be using these three mainly: the cerulean, the burnt umber, and then just the natural watercolor. Dun, dun. Oh, this feels so intimidating without a sketch. There's nothing as intimidating as a blank canvas. Okay. Oh, there's something stuck to the paper, so I'm going to use my kneaded eraser. No, Angel. I got a little dog with me here today. Angel, go lie down. Go lie down. There we go. I have a studio audience with me here today, aka my #1 fan, called Mom. I'm glad she's here with me today. Don't know if you could hear that, but there was some applauding in the background. Okay. So, to start off with, I'm going to do I'm going to do water and wet the paper. So that when I go in with my color, it will have this more even faded look. Okay. So now let's put some blue onto my palette. Hi, Sam. Hi, Jason. Thanks for joining us. Okay. There we go. And as I develop more of what this is going to be, again, this is freestyle. Freestyling it, I don't know exactly what this is going to look like. I'll be able to add more details to complete the look. So like with always with watercolor, we want this to dry before we add anything else on it or next to it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do the faintest of outlines. As you can see there, it's a very, very faint blue that I have, and I'm going to just start kind of drawing the outline of the eyebrow and the eyelid. Let's see. That's a no, she's bored. Sorry, Angel, we're so boring. Okay, so I think these will be the eyelids, and from here I kind of want for this dragon I want to have a very strong snout, which means that when it comes to the eyebrows, they're not gonna it's not going to curve down as much like a human's face would. It's going to kind of jut out a little bit more. Here we go. Do that. We are so crazy. We got some crazy dogs in the audience today. Oh, go on. Okay, still wet. Studio audience is apparently working as well. We appreciate the studio audience. So I'm gonna kind of fade it here so I can get a feel for what it is I want with this eyebrow and these eyelids. What I've seen with other drawings, like in my research, ooh, just a second, I want you guys to see this. This is the fun thing about watercoloring. So like here I am, I'm creating a pool, sidestepping. I will get back to my point. Sidestepping. But then, so I have this here, and then, oh, look at it go. I love that. It is so cool to me. Hi, Brandy! Thanks for watching. We're getting started on our dragon eye here. Anyway, so as I was saying, looking at the pictures of reptiles and other people's renditions of what a dragon would look like, they have not only scaly eyebrows and eyelids, but they have a very like harsh cheekbone. It's very severe to give it a more intimidating look. So I think we're going to just continue in that vein and have a severe cheekbone in the corner here. Okay. There we go. There we go. All right. So now we are going. This looks a little obscene at this stage. Oh, I love it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to, let's see, this is pretty much dry. So I think I'm going to start adding some layers to the eyeball. So let us put some brown in here in place of black, because I'm not a fan, like I said earlier, of using black unless I have to. So I'm going to take this brown, and we're going to say, let's have this dragon kind of looking forward, not directly at us. Let's see. Yeah. So I'm feeling the circle pupil. A lot of people dig the vertical slit pupil, but I think I'm going to go with the circle. There we go. Okay. So now what? Now what? So now it's time to start adding layers to what I want for this face. So let's start with the, see, it is dry, right? Yes, it's dry. Let's start with the eyelid and kind of get a feel for like the thickness of the eyelid, like how thick are these scaly eyelids, and how do they fold in the eye socket. So we're going to take this blue, and you know what? I think what I'm going to do here at this point is I'm going to just put a little bit of brown in with this blue to give it a slightly different shade. Okay. I don't know, do dragons have tear ducts? Do reptiles have tear ducts? I don't think so, because they normally lick their eyes or they're in water already, so they don't have to.
Puff the Magic Dragon cried.
Oh, Puff the Magic Dragon cried, huh?
Yes.
What if I told you we're not doing Puff the Magic Dragon? Oh, the studio audience has unanimously given me a sad face. Okay. I think we're gonna kind of put it up a little bit like this. Like this dragon is kind of smiling mischievously. And here we go. Okay, so that's the top eyelid. Now for the bottom eyelid. Okay, so maybe we are doing Puff the Magic Dragon, because I want to give this one a tear duct now. Alright, studio audience, you win this one. There we go. So now that that is decided, let us put in the rest of the eyelid, starting with the top one. We're going to let this, the eye line around the eye dry first, because that is, I think I like it in that it kind of gives a shadow, and if we try to mess with it now, it might not give the harsh shadow that a scale would. So we're just going to let that sit for a second. Okay. Okay. So while that's all drying, let's see, what do we want to do? How far of a snout do I want to show before I just go into the dragon figure? Here I am. I'm gonna put a light blue onto my clear water brush, and let's see, eyebrows here. Let's say like the eyebrow starts right here, but it kind of goes into it leads into the snout with scales. So we're gonna kind of go this far. Oh, got a little in the way there. So as I was doing research for this, I found that there are all sorts of different descriptions for what a dragon looks like from all over the world. Every country like has its own version. Every area has its own version of what a dragon looks like. And probably the one that should not have surprised me the most, but did, was the fact that there are a lot of descriptions that don't involve a flying dragon. The ones that I've always seen, and the stories I have heard are of dragons that did have wings. And so I considered, one of the things I considered doing today was having a battle, like a stare down of a flightless dragon versus a flighted dragon. And like the flightless one would be more like a serpent with legs, and more windy and cunning, whereas the flying one obviously has fire and flight, and so it has kind of those options and is less cunning but more brute force. I was considering doing that, but that didn't happen. I thought that after doing like 12 sketches of what that fight would look like, I decided that was too complicated and not one for today's topic. Okay. This is still wet over here. Let's see what we want to do here. How much of this dragon do I want to show? Oh, that's harsher than I want it to be. Get some water on that. Let's show some of the forehead, and then I think that will be, I'm going to have it fade out into a white background. So we'll have a snow dragon. Like in Game of Thrones. Okay. I think we're ready to do the eye now. More of the eye. So some of the drawings I've seen for faces, for dragon faces, I think was very well done, was that they did these veins like this, kind of going with the light color, like these lines going in towards the iris. And then once it dried, they added a more harsher color. So you got this multi-layered effect for the different, for how intense the eye texture was, and it was really cool to see how that worked. So I think we're going to do that today as well. Okay. So now that that is there, let's start with the eyelids. And we're just going to go in broad stroke here before we do set up the skin for scales. By the way, in case y'all were wondering, scales are hard and detailed, and you know if it's not done right. So you either have to commit to doing it sloppy and imprecise the whole way through, or very precise the whole way through. There's like no in between. Not for this lady, anyway. I'm sure there's some artists that can make it work. Okay. This is looking blotchy. Why is it looking blotchy? Let's put some more water on it. That defeats the purpose of watercolor if it's looking too blotchy. Okay. Something from Jason. I've contemplated making an Eastern and Western dragon stare down. Yes, that would be awesome. I would love to see it, and you especially because you are you already have lots of practice with your T-Rex, with your webcomic. I think that would be awesome, Jason. If you do, could you share that with me? Well, hello, Munchkin. Hi. I'm getting a look from the Munchkin. Whew. Oh, gotta save some time for dog pets. Oh, yes. What a good dog. Yes, you are. All right, Angel, go lie down. And off she goes. Okay. So now, this is what I have so far. And now at this point, I'm going to go in with, I've set up the base tones for what I want to work with before I add details like scales and more precise shading. So the idea here is that this is going to be the brow line, and this is going to be kind of the shiny part for scales, for this brow scales, which will lead into the snout. And then they will fade down into the dark eyelid, like where the hood part of it is. And then at the top here, we're going to have a dark blue on the eyeball to show that the eyelid is very thick and the eyelid is jutting out. And then we'll do the same thing along here at the bottom of the lower lid. Okay. So to do that, so this is dry right here. I'm going to wet the area between the lid and the brow to just below the brow. You'll share it eventually. Thank you, Jason. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm actually really psyched because I gave up on that, on an idea like that, because it was too complicated for me at this point. So I'd be really excited to see your interpretation of that, of the Western versus Eastern dragon. All right, so I've wetted this part. So now I'm going to just take this directly and not put it into my palette to water it down. And I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to actually move my camera closer so you guys can see it up close. Last time, when I was trying to make the speed up video, I realized that I jostled around too much when I held it up to the camera. So this will help it stay more close, and you can still get the full effect without me jostling the pad around too much. All right, here we go. Heavenly. That is beautiful. Okay. Yes, I love it. Okay. Now I'm taking this, and we're going to just kind of coax it out a little bit. I like to do circles. Circles are really good for doing things evenly. I think I'm going to take some of this brown from my palette and incorporate that into the scales a little bit. So there's a slightly different vibrancy to the, oh, that's a mistake. Hey, hey, Angel. Angel. Angel, wrong door. My beloved has come home. But he came through the unexpected door. So the dogs are all going to the wrong door. The audience, the studio audience has doubled. Okay. So this is starting to fade out a little bit here, so I'm going to add some more here. Sam, they can hear that. It's like right here.
Hear what? Hi.
Hi. Here we go. That's a more defined line. It kind of shrunk the eye a little bit, like the eyelid, made it less thick, but I think that'll be okay. Rosie, listen to that barking. Oh my god. Well, we include all types here on Awkward Audrey. Any member can be an audience. Be it dog or something else. Dog, cat, people. Okay. So that is done. Now we're going to go to the lower eyelid. All right, so now we're watering underneath this here, and we're going to draw it out to the cheekbone that I made out earlier. Okay. Okay. And again, we want a defined line. But in order to get that and get a smooth, nice line, we might have to shrink the lower lid. I hope not, though. Not too much, anyway. Whoa.
What was that?
That was Angel trying to get in on Ellie's primo audience spot. Yeah, she's trying to, and then Angel is trying to inspect what was going on, and it didn't. Ellie was not into that. Okay. So now that is this kind of happened. I was distracted, Mr. Bailey. But you know what? I'm going to just leave it as is. Nobody has perfect eyelids. I know one of mine droops a little bit more than the other, and you don't really see it until I take off my glasses. So one reason to always have glasses, nobody can see it. Okay. Another reason to also have glasses is that I can get away with just eyeliner and no mascara. I prefer no mascara. My eyes get itchy. Intense. Hi, Shannon, thanks. We're getting there. We're getting there. So now that we, this eye area has dried, we're going to add more detail. We're not going to add to the pupil yet because we want the pupil to be super defined. So we're just going to let that be for right now. But we are going to wet the whole eye. Because what we're going to do is go in with this and make it harsh. Not harsh, bold. Go. I'm going to take some of this bottom part away because the top part should actually be more shaded than the bottom part. So I'm just taking my pinky. It's a very soft, yes, it's a very soft pinky. And it can smooch it very lightly and have no harsh lines. I know this also from makeup. beginning to realize how much makeup advice you can give for for art stuff. Okay. I'll just do one more pass here at the top. It's a big deal. Do dragons have tear ducts? I don't know.
They do, but they cry fire.
But they cry fire.
They cry gasoline.
Well, it's the same. It's the same. Like their sleight of hands is why it's got a flammable effect. So it makes sense. That
You have saliva come out of your eyes.
it's all the same.
No, it's not. You have saliva coming out of your eyes.
I sense dragon crap happening over there. Okay. So now we're going to let that dry, and we're going to add another layer with more dark lines to the center. In the meantime, what do we want to do for this? Oh, again, that's still wet. I'm going to smooth that out. Okay. So now we're going to.
No.
What do I want to do for the snout? Okay. Okay, we're gonna combine these here and put water here to drag out the color. So now at this point we want these to be even. Join forces, as it were. Okay. This time I'm going to take, because as you can see, my brown has pretty much been used up. We're going to add some more. There we go. There we go. Oh, look at that. That's so pretty. We're just going to watch this for a second. Okay, that's enough. We get it, it's pretty. I could just do a whole show of that, to be honest. Like, this is just so pretty when it goes in, when color goes into water like that. Okay, here we go. We have blue with some brown. There we go. Before it dries too quickly, add it to the wet paper. Okay. Started out looking like a hummingbird. Oh, you know what? I can actually see that. You and your birds, Shannon. For those of you who don't know, Shannon has a calendar full of birds, and she is a naturalist. She knows a lot about wildlife. The debate continues among the studio audience as to whether dragons have tear ducts. Sam proposed that dragons' tears are fire. This is true. I did overhear that. It is wonderfully absurd, and I really want to see that happen. Okay, so I think that this is where the eyebrow will end. Oh shoot, I'm gonna move this over. Eyebrow will end. I'm gonna just move it on up above the eyebrow. Okay. Okay, so now what we can do here is we can add shading to the eyelid once these have dried enough, And once we add to the shading, we can decide where the highlights are going to be and how that portrays the shape and depth of the eyelid. Okay. The eye is pretty dry, so I'd be careful not to put my palm on it. So I'm gonna have secure my wrist with one hand and hold it and have that wrist on the table while my hand goes over the paper.
So it is really considered. It's not gonna
Oh, just a second. Oop, got a cough. Excuse me.
2-bedroom, 2 bath spaces, at least 1,000 square feet, under 2,000. Not a huge amount, but there's some that exist.
Okay.
Or apparently which is like located in city hall.
This still feels damp, so we're gonna leave that lower eyelid be for a bit.
Okay. I think this might be
It's actually all
this is the color I was
not quite dry. Ah,
This is the color.
this is so frustrating. I want to move. I want to get going. There is a bird-like quality, a giant bird. Okay, so there is a very real reason for that, is because birds are pretty close to dinosaurs, and dinosaurs are really close to reptiles. So since reptiles are really close to dragons, it makes a lot of sense to me that a dragon would represent a bird in a lot of ways, especially, of course, if you have a flying dragon. Like, I really appreciate those that the artists that go and when they make the dragon, they make the chest of it very barrel chested, because it would probably take a lot of work to make a lot of air space. I can't speak. You need large lungs to be able to pump that much energy and lift yourself up off the ground if you're a huge dragon. Most reptiles can cry, not emotionally, but to keep eyes clean. Oh, there we go. Shannon's got the answers. Oh, okay. I see what you mean there, Shannon. I misunderstood what you said earlier. Okay. I am so impatient. I am so impatient, guys. I am so impatient. I need this to go. Ah! All right. That's enough. Okay. Bum, 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 bum. Dun, dun. It's yeah. Okay. So now at this point, oh hey Ellie, hi. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to pet my dog. Not my dog, my sister's dog. Hi. Here we go. Okay. All right, so we're going to take a short break so you can see what's happening underneath here. We got this cute little Ellie dog. Yes, hello. Hi. Oh, look at those eyes. Now, her eyes appear cloudy, but she actually can see just fine. So I am told. Oh, what a good dog. What a good dog. And when she waggles her tail, she likes to waggle her whole butt, and it is so cute. It's so cute. Yes. Yes. Okay. Now that I hope the paint is dried. Thank you for that little intermission as we figure out the drying paint. We got a beautiful little Ellie here sitting underneath my legs. And a little Angel who doesn't like to sit still for much too long. She's got to go patrol. We'll need to say bye, but look forward to seeing the dragon scales. All right. You take care, Shannon. Thank you so much for coming by. I appreciate you coming out here and supporting me during my art hour. And I hope you have a great evening. Okay. So this is dry. I'm going to say dry enough. I need it to be dry enough. I'm impatient. So now we're going to, let's see. We're going to take a little bit of color from here. I'm not wetting the paper first because I want to be able to get that fine line for the highlight of the eyelid, of the lower eyelid. There we go. What are you guys talking about over there? So, that actually makes me think that, when I was doing my internet challenges last year, Eli contributed one word to any of them, and it was meth. And I thought, that's just perfect. I wouldn't have it any other way. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Starting to take shape here. So now we're going to go, the eye has dried. We're going to go in with details for more of the lines.
This house has been pretty good.
Dun, dun.
Yeah, you own it.
Yeah, there you go. Let me do a paint print.
Okay. These don't seem very fine-tipped enough to be able to do the details I'm looking for. I might have to just be more patient. In case you haven't learned, I have no patience. And this is why acrylic paint is usually my choice medium, because it dries really quickly. And you can just go forward from there. Okay. This isn't giving me the look I want either. So maybe more, less. When going with more, you always have to be careful, because there becomes a point in the process where more becomes too much. So you always have to do it in moderation. So we're going to let that sit. More sitting. Exactly what I wanted. Okay.
So Audrey, my friend from high school, Kathy Ivy, just came up.
Oh, nice. Hi, Kathy. Mom tells me that that you're online. I didn't get a notification. Probably, I don't know if it's because we're just not friends on Facebook or what the issue is, but thank you for coming and joining my art hour. We're a couple layers, like 3 layers into my dragon eye. And we're working on the eyelids. Slowly. Terribly, painfully slowly is killing my patience. Okay. So this part is dried, so now we're going to let the eyelids dry for a little bit, and I'm going to go into the cheekbone. Let's add some shading to this cheekbone. Okay. Whoop. And that went everywhere. I squeezed it a little too hard. Da-da! All right. So here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to let that spread out a little bit. One, because it's pretty and I like it, even though it's not what I'm going to want at the end of this. And then we're going to just take a paper towel and we're going to just dab it up. Dab, 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 dab. Dab, 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 dab. See, it's just part of the process. Adding texture. Oh, a dragon tear. Hey, it all comes back. We were discussing earlier whether or not dragons have tears.
Sorry, Kathy, Ivy's parents owned an art store.
Oh, sorry, I missed that comment. There, Ivy. You owned an art store. So, do you, Kathy, do you participate in any art? Like, do you do sculpting or watercolor or acrylics or anything like that? Or are you just an appreciative person of art? Both are fine. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I don't remember having you ever there. So now we're going to add this, and I think this is where the front end of the eyebrow is going to end. It's going to be right over here, before it turns officially into the snout. Okay. All right, no, I never took art in school or anything, but I probably should have. Hey, it's never too late to pick up something. I am not a watercolor person, but I am getting better at it as I practice. I do draw, so that does help. I do have a background in sketches, but really, it's just if you have the time and the inclination, and the particularly the inspiration to go and do it. Go and get some supplies. There are some very cheap supplies out on the online that you can buy, and just try something new. I highly encourage anybody to try something creative, no matter what stage they are in life. I had friends at my old job that were like, yeah, no, I could never do anything creative. I'm like, you are younger than I am. You can start anytime, and you would surprise yourself with how much progress you can make if you put in a little bit of time each week. Okay. Time to add some more to the eye itself. And we're going to use, let's see, blue. Blue, blue, blue. We want blue. None of the slightly brownish blue. Blue. Oh my god. I almost put my brush into my tea. Don't know if you guys know this, but there is my water cup over there, And then there is my tea right over there, if you guys can see it. This is, so they should not be right next to each other. It's very obvious which one is my water one, but it doesn't stop me from just blindly putting it there. Blindly, I'm almost putting my brush into my tea. Okay, here we go. And learning something new grows brain cells. Yes. Brain is not as static as we thought it was, as we once thought it was. Okay. There we go. There we go. So now what I'm just did for the pupil is I put water around it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade it darker towards the area between the iris and the pupil. One of the reasons why I'm going to do that is because if you think about it, like the iris kind of pinches as the pupil closes, and so it gets tighter and more dense. There are more wrinkles, as it were, towards the pupil, and so it has a darker, more detailed effect, which I have been ignoring because I have been more focused on the outside, but now I'm ready for that. Okay. 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 So I think I'm going to just let all that dry for right now. My brain is kind of done looking at this. And I want to focus on something that will make me smile, make me, because I feel like I've creatively hit a wall and I'm not going to get what I want right this minute from this eye. So we're going to go on to the next part, which is the silhouette of a flying dragon. And what I love about a lot of these, a lot of the pictures online is about the flying dragon is the motion of the wings, and how they portray the action that the dragon is doing. And I just put some more ink in there. You can see it spreading out throughout the water. Oh, so pretty, so pretty. Okay. Okay, so I'm taking this and I am putting it in here, and I can kind of, and I'm dotting it to see how much is actually on my brush before I put it onto the paper. Okay, so now we're going to go in and let's start with the barrel chest that I want. No, Angel. Okay. So we want to leave enough room for the wings, so we could see the wings. And then we also want to be able to see the neck. Oh, and there is a dog hair on this. We're going to just slightly pick it up with the kneaded eraser. Whoop. And we have to leave enough room for the tail as well. So we're going to just, even though the chest is big, let's leave it like that. And all right, and then I think, so we're gonna just start a circle for the chest. Kind of, let's see it lead into the hips, right here. And then we're going to have the wings come out from there. Oh, and you know what? I kind of flirted out at the top, but that's not what I want. I'm realizing. I want it to be like that. Okay, so we're going to do just one wing, and then once it's dry, we'll go and do the wing that is behind it. Okay, so now, so this will be where that top part of the neck, where the neck starts and the back, where the neck stops and the back begins will be at this point. Everybody has that. You can feel it on your own neck. There's that one protrusion, and I think that making that more apparent will make this more dynamic. And then we're going to have the neck out here. There we go. There we go. This as stomach. There we go. I'm going to connect the back and the hip. And because I'm doing a silhouette, I don't have to worry so much about where the light is and what the shapes are in front or behind. I do kind of want to give it like an atmospheric perspective where things that are closer are going to be more defined and things that are further away are going to be less defined in terms of the in terms of color. But I'm not going to focus too much on the fine details of like adding like we're doing over here. There's going to be less details over here, just mostly shape and form. Okay. So now for the head, now what face do we, like what direction is this snout facing? And we'll be able to kind of let the rest of it flow. Okay. Okay, I want this one to have a strong jaw, so it's gonna kind of jut out just a little bit. And a snout that goes forward. You'll see some pictures of dragons where like the snout is way up here and the teeth are way out in front. But I want a kind of like a hunter, like a fox kind of look. So we're going to do that instead. Where the nose is out front. The snout is in front of the mouth. Okay. Now, often depicted in maybe particularly modern ones, I'd have to do more research on historic dragon paintings, but if they have ears, they look very, very similar to the wings of the dragon. So I'm going to wait until I figure out what the wings of the dragon look like before I add the ears, because I want them to look very similar in shape and in motion. Okay. So now let's do the hind legs. Like some dragons have arms. I think that the wings in this situation are going to be the arms. So I'm not gonna try and figure that out. We're going to focus on the hind legs, and we're going to draw it where they bend back. And then forward as if he's going to grab something. Dun, dun, dun. Gonna have claws, yes. but with, I think, 5. There we go. Dun, dun. Okay, now for the tail. Let's see. I'm gonna do a swoosh like that. Dun, dun. That did not, as you can see, that didn't have enough water on it, so it went over and shows the texture of the paper, which is not what I want right now. I want clear lines. There we go. I'm going to make it a little thicker towards the base of the tail because the swish made it kind of thick towards the tip of the tail, so we have to compensate. It's a process, guys. It's a process. Okay. So that looks like a very big tail for tiny hips. So we're just going to bulk up the hips a little bit and the back. I think we'll call it a day for the general shape of the tail and the hips. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to go on to the wing. And let's see. We're going to, let's see. I kind of like the idea of doing it like a bat's wing. So like there's going to be like a hook here. This is like the thumb for a bat wing. And it's going to have 4 fingers that come out of the wing. These are things I learned in elementary school, and then I learned later in life as an artist when I was trying to do Halloween bats. It's really fun. I highly suggest learning how to draw a bat realistically. They are really fun. 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And now we're going to take that and we're going to do, let's see, I'm going to bulk this up a little bit, I think, because you need some serious muscles to lift a heavy, heavy dragon. And then we're going to add the leather part, or the wing part.
I mean, the renovation for like occupier, but they can renovations going on, a lot of stuff is moved from there anyway. So it's like
Okay.
a lot of it in and the rebuilding, and there's like some structural flaw caused by heat fluctuations.
There's one wing done. Generally speaking, I might add more to it later. Okay.
It's been 100 years.
Yeah, somebody at work they're talking about the fire at Notre Dame over in the studio audience, and somebody at work actually asked like, how long has Notre Dame been around? And my other coworker was like, well, like starting or finished, because it's a big difference.
It's still been like 800 years either way.
Yeah, how long did it take to build Notre Dame? Do you guys know?
Over 100 years.
Over 100 years?
Yeah,
I thought it was 200 to start with. And then it's been refurbished and reworked and destroyed and all kinds of stuff.
It began in 1160 and was largely complete in 1260.
There you go.
100 years.
Huh, nice.
But it has been modified frequently in the ensuing centuries. It suffered desecration in the French Revolution, with much of its religious imagery was damaged or destroyed.
Okay, so now that I have the wings done, I know what the ears are going to look like. Very similar to bat wings. And so I guess it's going to look kind of weird when you think about it, because it's going to be like bat hands on the head. But that's kind of cute, you know, like a dragon's going to be like, maybe that's what dragons are doing this whole time, is they're making fun of everybody else.
Yeah, he wrote the book in 1831. Interests and led to major restoration projects between 1844 and 1864. One of the things that I found was quite interesting when I was in Rome, in the Colosseum.
Okay, so there's the 4 there. This is not as, it's more difficult to get a fine tip when you're drawing something this tiny. So we're going to just take our time, and not put my hand on the wet wing over here. We take our time and make sure that these are pointed and there we go. There we go. Maybe no thumb though. I think no thumb would be great. Okay.
Rising pedestals to release things or get barriers up. So there's a whole like mechanisms and everything. And when it ended, it was all just stone pillars.
Okay.
Open area, because the floor was gone, would be stone pillars. So it's really easy to kind of divide them off into rooms and put stuff around.
Nice. Now its head can still fly away if freed from its body. You know what that makes me think of? That makes me think of Labyrinth, with those creatures, those orange puppet creatures that play ball with their limbs and their heads and their eyes. That's what that makes me think of. Okay, so this is still wet. Hi, Pat. Thanks for joining us. Got a little crowd going. Makes me think of the Next Generation Enterprise. Wait, what do you mean?
The battle bridge can separate.
Oh, yeah. The battle bridge can separate. Oh my god. Ahead of their time, as it were.
Let's see Pat Barner.
Yeah. Did you hear me say, hey, Pat?
No.
Okay. Okay. Let's make it a little stronger eyebrow here. Kind of more intimidating. It's this tiniest of brush strokes, right, that make it so difficult. Because it is a difference between an intimidating or a worrisome dragon. I want an intimidating dragon. Okay. So we're going to leave this be for now, I think. And we're going to go back later once it's dry and add more detail and make it darker. And And now we're going to go back to the eye. The eye is completely dry, and we can start adding details like scales. Okay. So when we do details like that, it means we don't put wet on wet. We just go in with the brush and hope for the best. This is probably the most tedious part of it is when adding details is because you have to take your time and be patient by adding these details. So
that's like less than $1 per person.
See, I mean, where the people, where the tourists that come to see them come from? Japan, maybe?
okay.
I feel American.
Yeah, a lot of America here.
Okay. So now let's see, how do I want to... Hey, Melissa, thank you for joining. We are working on this dragon eye. We're about to add scales. I'm slightly intimidated because you have to do it, kind of have to do it right, and I didn't sketch this out beforehand, so I really don't know how this is going to work. So I think for the eyelid, we are going to, the top lid at least, we're going to have 2 rows that kind of interlock like this for scales. And by like this, I do mean closer to like that. I think. I don't know. We'll find out how it works.
In some countries, including
Okay.
Mexico and Germany, there's no punishment for escaping from prison because law considers it human nature not to escape. So no extra time is added to the sentence by letting you breaking other laws not punishment.
Oh shoot, that one ended up smaller than I wanted. Oh well.
Including China.
Forging on. I just put my arm on the dragon. I have blue on my arm now. Okay. Try this again. Oh, that has a little too much water on it. That was thicker than I wanted it to be. So one trick you can do when you do have put too much water on it, you dry the pen or the brush, and then you go in and you put it right where there's too much water, and the pen will soak up some of the water, and then you just dab it off on your napkin. I know you guys can't hear it, and maybe it doesn't not matter to you, but I think it is adorable that Angel, who was harassing me before, is now asleep in the corner, and she is snoring. All right, time for that second row of scales. I'm gonna have to make it a little bit darker, I think. This is not quite having the effect I want, as I imagined it would. But that's okay. This is one of those times where maybe this whole process, start to finish, was more difficult than I anticipated. Like I chose the theme, right? Dragon Stare, and it became difficult for me to choose a design. Even when I did my research, which is usually where I get my inspiration, is like, okay, I have something I like, the original idea of Dragon Stare, but then when I go do my research, I find items that make it easier for me to put a design together for a piece. That didn't happen this time, as you can, we have seen, and so that makes it, less coherent, and I haven't been able to do the research on the design elements that I may have originally been looking for. Oh, I think the second row of scales is making it look much better. Oh, thank you.
That's a good idea. Offset the rows of scales.
I was trying to do that, but I don't know if I have, I would have had to sketch that out first to really figure that out. I don't have the skill set right now to do it. That is a very good idea, Pat. I think I'm going to practice that when I next draw a dragon. Okay, so now we're going to go in with the bottom here, and we're going to, it's going to kind of be uniform over here. It's going to separate, and it's going to become more uniform towards the outside corner of the eye. Okay. I'm going to do it like this, so I can kind of go with the natural shape of how my hand works. Okay. Okay.
I usually have to call 3 times and say I can't bring the cat. Reschedule.
There's always those that try to scare you. They exist.
So now, as I'm going along here, I'm finding that I'm drawing circles more than scales, and that kind of is helpful to think of it like circles instead of U's, which is what I was originally thinking. Apprenticing leather now and learning design for dragons, and use a punch for scales, and offsetting them makes them pop. Ah, that is so cool. How long have you been doing leather work, Pat? The Peanut Gallery has some risque comments going on over there.
It was whispered for a reason, Audrey.
I know.
Share it with the world.
Studio audience means studio participation.
Oh, you want some participation?
Wait,
No.
I regret everything. Okay, so as you can kind of see here, it's if I want to maintain the same size, this row here is going to continue on close to the eye. This is going to continue on towards the bottom of the eyelid, and in the middle there will be another row of scales emerging. There we go, like that. All right, that's not so bad. That's actually looking pretty good from my point of view. All right, now to bring it all together. Ta-da. Add one more scale here. There we go. There you go. I think I like that a lot. See how time consuming this can be? Like, like we're not Like if we're going to be doing this the whole time, the scales alone are going to take a while. Oh, hi Terry. How's it going? You have joined us. I started off by getting the shading for the eye, and now we're adding the scales for texture. Let's see, over a year now, wanted to learn so I can make leather armor vest for Tariel cosplay. Nice. We'll have to punch and stamp out design undyed veggie tan leather. Veggie tan leather? Wait, I don't think I've heard that before. Can you explain that? Can you explain that to me? That sounds really cool. Also, you don't have to explain it, but I'm interested. You have an interested audience, which is also the show. Thanks, Terry. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with that direction, so we're just going to kind of leave that be and kind of work on making this go into the snout. Okay. And now that I've got some practice in and I've done, I don't know, probably about 50 scales, I feel more confident in how the brush works and achieving the scale look. Okay. So let's see. Now we're going to go from snout to eye. Veg tanned, a method used to tan hides that utilizes organic materials such as tree bark. Ooh! Oh, that's really cool. That's more animal friendly that way. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So at this point, how I am thinking, since I will be working with a bigger space, how I do each row of scales will inform us of how this is actually shaped and how bulgy or how rigid or how round it is. How, it's is it flat or is it round? I'm not sure. What it from the drawings that I've seen, this part has been pretty flat, while this has been pretty round. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to start with some big scales for the ridge of the eyebrow, and then we're going to add detailed, so it's very solid, and then we're going to go from and add tinier scales, since they would need tinier scales to be able to blink. It'd be very difficult to blink if it was just one scale and it didn't move very well. So let's start with over here, at the very beginning of the eyebrow.
This studio audience has to go find some food.
What time is it anyway? It's 8 o'clock already. Holy crap. Crap. There we go. Okay, so as you guys can see, I kind of did one side of the scale versus the other side, and That is so I could focus on getting this side more uniform. And now I'm going to go on focus on getting the other side more uniform as well. All right. Good night.
Good night.
Love you. Thanks for joining.
You bet. I'll probably join again in a few minutes.
Oh, okay. Food. One of our audience members is hungry, like a dragon, in search of food. I don't have food here for that audience member, so she's on her own. Yeah, we are a high quality establishment here. Okay. There we go. Ooh, yeah. Da-da. Okay. Hunger like dragon, solved with pizza. Yes! If only Mr. Bailey had brought pizza.
You asked me to.
I know. Pizza is always welcome. Hi, Marin.
It's the Domino's.
That's true. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to put scales in between these bigger ones and these tinier ones, while still having the illusion that there is a fold in there. And now that we have a kind of base for how that looks, I think we'll. Yeah, I didn't see the dragon outline until now. Yeah, see, we were letting that dry before adding more details to it. Not that there will be many, because this is just a silhouette. Okay. Not dark enough. There we go. Oh, that my color is faded as I went along. I'm gonna have to get some more ink, get some more watercolor on my brush. Nope, there we go. Okay, start from here. There we go. Kind of go. Since as I lost ink going here, when I go back, I'll pretty much be starting from the beginning, so that it does look like it was all intentional. It's all part of the show. Instead of having light and then harsh dark lines. There we go. Ooh. I think what we're going to do is we're going to have it kind of generally be kind of have this feel to it. So we're going to start here, and we're going to show that. So this part will be mostly flat, and then as I go on, we're going to see that this is more curved, like this. Great reference book on dragon design. Great book of dragon patterns by Laura S. Irish. Ooh. Yes, please. Hey Jess, thanks for joining us. We're at the more tedious part of this in adding scales to this dragon eye, and then after that we're going to be moving to and finishing off this dragon silhouette in flight, or the silhouette of a dragon in flight. Okay. So I think as I'm going on, I'm learning a couple things. One is that every couple rows just have three, and then that way when I go to do my next row, the next one is a little bit more rounded, and we'll get that rounded look throughout. Hmm. This is very actually relaxing right now, even though it's just me doing a whole bunch of circles pretty much the entire time. The 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 process is actually very relaxing. Do any of you have a process? It doesn't even necessarily have to be art. Do any of you have a process that is kind of just relaxing just by doing it, even though it's repetitive?
Cutting out cards.
Ah, studio audience says cutting out cards for gaming prototypes. There we go. Oh, new comment. I've been watching Shrek with Skylar. The eye made me think of the scene where Donkey says, "Oh, you're a girl dragon." She has big eyelashes. Uh, that's such a great scene. It's honestly a really great movie. It makes me smile because it's actually quite clever. How does Skylar like Shrek? Is she a big fan? Gardening and hanging my jewelry are relaxing. And you got a lot of jewelry. So that's a process. Very nice, Terry. I can definitely see how those would be relaxing. Especially gardening because it's like a promise, of new growth and things to come. And we're at that time of year where that means something, Spring is just around the corner. It's technically spring right now. The trees are starting to blossom and the air is starting to smell sweeter. It's just nice. Shrek, Moana, and Paw Patrol. I've heard a lot of good things about Paw Patrol, even from adults. They must have good. I have not actually seen an episode of Paw Patrol, but I've heard that they actually have good storylines. Nothing super complex, but very entertaining.
It's no spirit.
Nothing spirit, Sam. Can't beat spirit. Okay, we're getting to it. Okay, so now getting to the point uh where the eyelid is gonna diminish and it's gonna become one row. So I have to start thinking about that before I accidentally draw something I don't want to draw. Here we go. Okay, so let's start here. Oh, thanks, Terry. That was what I was trying to figure out. I'm glad it worked out. It's really hard to figure out how to give that effect because there's just so many scales. It could get lost in the details. The shading, of course, helps. Okay. So now I think we're going to kind of flatten this part out and it's going to be a more uniform line. Or we're going to start aiming for it to be a more uniform line. Da, dun, da, dun, da, da, dun, dun, da, da, dun, da, dun, da, da, dun, dun, da. Dun, da, 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 dun, da, 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 dun, da, 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 dun, da, da, da. You know I'm in a good mood when I'm humming, right? Dun, 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 da, 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 dun, dun, da, 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 dun, dun, da, 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 da. There we go. All right. There are those scales. I think we're going to let those just dry for now and sit. And let's finish this dragon right here. Okay, so now I want this to be, I want this, what I have here to be dark. But I want like the hind leg, the second hind leg, and the second wing, and the second ear to be lighter. So what I'm going to do first, before I go dark, is I'm going to draw in those lighter elements of the dragon, and then once those are dry, I'm going to go in dark on the rest of it, and we'll have that effect of something's closer and something's farther away. Okay, so let's see. To do that, we're going to need, let's see, there's nothing on the bottom. Okay, there's nothing on the bottom of this. We're going to put some blue on here. Since you all know what I like how the water displaces the ink. I put some more water in there, and we're going to add drops of ink. Ah! Look at that. It's so pretty. So I'm dragging the water out, and it's following the water. Oh, and there's a bubble. Let's pop the bubble. Maybe? Pop. Pop. Ah! There we go. Okay. So now we're going to take this. That's what's on my brush. And then we're going to do that second wing. So kind of like when you put your arms back, your shoulder blades kind of go close together. So the where I put the second wing is going to be very close to where it is attached. For this first wing is attached to the body. So we're going to go like that. And down. Let's make it a little bit more pointed. And we're going to add the thumb. Oh shoot, you can't see it. There we go. Sorry about that. So here's where it started. I'm going to make it more pointed, and then this is going to be round. And then we're going to add the thumb of the dragon wing. Oh, getting the comments now. Thanks, guys. Oh, you got my back. Okay, so now we're going to add the, let's see. So how do we want to do this? How much of the wing will we be able to see on this side of this? How much of the behind wing will we see at the bottom here? I don't think we'll be able to see very much, so it's one of those calls you have to make where do you want to add those details? Will they distract from the overall look, or will they enhance the reality of it? So I think what I'm going to do, let's see, it'll be about this from here to there, and from this from here to there. I think it could work. I think it could work if we can keep the colors different. Yeah, I keep trying to pan with my mouse. Sorry guys, technology is not working like that. So I think we are going to add the little details here for this wing. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then the fourth one we just won't be able, we might not be able to see, but we're going to allude that it's there, and draw it like that. So there's a space here. Okay, and now we're going to color it in. Ta-da! Okay, now for the second ear. Now this will be a little bit different, whereas here the shoulders of the dragon are bunched up close together as they're about to, as these wings are about to swoosh down. The ears are going to be a set distance apart. They're not going to be scrunched up. So we can put some distance in between the original like hinges of the ear, where the ear starts. Okay, there we go. Excellent. Okay, just smooth that along. And then finally the hind leg. And the same with the ear. The backmost hind leg is going to be displaced. So we're going to do this. And we kind of want it to be in a slightly different position so that we can distinguish it from the front one here. And it just adds something, it just adds more action to the piece, and it makes it more interesting to look at, I think, if you do it right. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to have this leg not as bent as much. We're going to have it kind of jut out here. And then we're going to have, let's see, the pinky, ring, middle, and oh, those ended up being wildly different from the original. Wildly different. Okay, we're gonna have to make the first fingers way bigger. Let's see if we can do this. Ugh. We have different hand sizes happening, people. All right. Okay. I don't know how that's gonna work, but it's very scary. It's very clawy, kind of spidery. So I'm gonna let it be. And then finally, since it still looks like you can really quite see the texture of the paper on this, which is not what I want, I'm going to go in with some water and some blue, and I'm going to smooth that out. The trick to doing fixes like this is to not change the size too much, because you can make something bigger or smaller than you intended originally. By trying to fix these kinds of details. Okay. All right. So this wing is dry. That wing is dry. This ear. This is actually pretty dry because it wasn't very much. So we're going to go in and we're going to, oh, my phone is dying. I forgot to charge it this time. So, I guess we're going to call it a day for now. Y'all have heard my thought process behind it. And let's bring it up and we can see the whole thing so far. So this is where I'm at right now. We've got some scales on this eye. The eye isn't as vibrant as I want it to be just yet. I will go in later and finish this, and then I'll go in and darken the silhouette, and maybe I'll add some clouds to the behind this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Switch the camera. Thank you guys so much for watching and for participating in this. Your support means a lot. And this was kind of an experiment to begin with. I didn't really know what I was doing. I still don't really know what I was doing, but I feel like I learned a lot through this process, as I always do. So I encourage you to try something new, learn a skill, and even if you're not great at it, you're always going to learn something. And there's value in that. So I hope that you are trying something new, like Pat with her leatherwork, and that you have a great week. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.